All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. What a great crowd. I'm glad you are all here. My name is Mike Lindberry. I'm one of the PIOs, the Public Information Officers on the Cerro Pelado fire. Our job is basically to keep you informed of what's going on while the firefighters are doing all the real hard work. So we're going to communicate the story of what the firefighters are doing and what's happening on the land to you today, what you can expect, and we're going to try to give you everything you need to make good decisions and just to know the facts of what's going on. So I want to thank you all for coming and welcome. Today, what we'll be doing is, after this introduction, we're going to be hearing from certain key people. The first one will be our Deputy Incident Commander, Patrick Pearson, and then we'll be hearing from some of our agency administrators. And Andrew Chavez, for the Cochiti Fire Chief, will also be speaking with us today. Oh man, that's fire department love right there. I love it. I love it. I'm a retired local government firefighter, so I like that. So I just want to remind you all, and I'll remind you all at the end, we are passing out paper sheets with updates of the fire. That's this morning's update. But there are many places where you can get information for this fire. What we prefer is that you get the information from us because we are being as transparent as we can, basically telling you what we know when we know it. And we have a couple of main places to get that information. That is INCIWeb. Raise your hand if you're familiar with INCIWeb. Okay, looks like a lot of people may not know of INCIWeb. INCIWeb, which is spelled I-N-C-I, the first four letters of incident, and web, like the web, is the place we use to get fire information out. If you want to search for information on this fire, you can search INCIWeb and then Cerro Pelado fire, and it'll take you to our site. In that site, you can find the updates with the information, and you can find maps, you can find photographs. And one of the really helpful things, like we'll be doing a community meeting tomorrow night in Los Alamos. There is a link that you can click to watch that meeting live if you do not want to travel to Los Alamos. The other place is a Facebook page that we have set up, and that Facebook page is Cerro Pelado Fire Information. So that will also be available to you. I just want to make sure that you have that because like I said, our job is to make sure that you are well informed. Okay, so I would like to go ahead and start. I'd like to introduce our Deputy Incident Commander, Pat Pearson. He's going to give you an update on the situation. Really quickly, please hold your questions until the end of the presentations because many may be answered as the speakers speak, and we'll have a Q&A period after they do. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Patrick Pearson. I'm the Deputy Incident Commander for the Southern Area Red Team. Patrick Pearson, Deputy Incident Commander for the Southern Area Red Team. Yeah, I can't yell much louder, but there we go. I'll just hold the mic right there. So, Patrick Pearson, Deputy IC for the Southern Area Red Team. So I'll go over a quick overview of the fire, and then I'll turn it over to our incident meteorologist to kind of go over what the weather forecast is going to be for the rest of the day, tonight, and into tomorrow. So for today, usually I'd have our operations section chief up here doing the update, but as you all can see, he's got his hands full today. So I'll start over here in Division Alpha and Zulu. This was so this is that Sierra de los Pinos community. The crews have done an excellent job. We've got black line all the way down, and then hopefully today we'll start being able to circle the southeast corner of this fire and working into what we call Division Romeo. Division Romeo, we've got good line all the way to about here, and then there's not a whole lot of options with the steep, rugged topography and fuels that we're dealing with. We did get a little bit of a burnout operation in here this morning before the winds hit to get this fire to back down. This is one of the few areas that still have some old growth timber up on the hill. So we don't want that fire to be able to hook down and then take out this whole area of old growth timber. So we put some fire up on the ridge and just let it back down. That way it doesn't take out that whole old growth timber stand. As we move down into the rest of Division Romeo and Division Mike, which y'all can see right here, the fire's backing upslope and downslope with the wind, the way the wind's blowing right now. I'll let the IMAT kind of go over what's going on possibly tonight, but we do have one of our division soups, a division supervisor, came over yesterday, and he's out scouting, working with Andrew and his folks on possible containment lines with roads and dozers, being able to open up some of those existing roads that are up there for containment lines. As we move around to the eastern flank of the fire, this is where the fire is making a pretty good push today. That eastern flank all the way up into that northeast flank of the fire. It actually spotted over the 286 road just before I came up here, and that's causing the operation to have to back off to the 289 road, which is right here. Definitely not our first plan, but we were able to get crews up in here the last 2 days and start prepping that 289 road. So we did anticipate having a little bit of issue with that 286, and we'll start making improvements. And I don't know if we'll be able to burn out with this wind. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens with the rest of the today. Going around to that north flank of the fire, Highway 4, we did have to close Highway 4 again this morning, just due to the fire spotting and the possibility of having firefighters up on Highway 4 the rest of today and into tomorrow and the next couple of days. Firefighter safety, we're having to close Highway 4, unfortunately. That's the general breakdown of the fire right now. You guys know it's been a huge huge undertaking with the winds and the drought that y'all have been dealing with over the last several years, not just this year, but culminating in what's going on right now. But I'll let Scott come up and give you the weather, and I'll come back up in a few minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Scott Stearns, incident meteorologist. So I work for the National Weather Service, but I'm here serving the red team and all their needs as this fire progresses. So with that, let's take a look at the forecast today. We are seeing those southwest winds pretty close to what was forecasted today for the incident. Generally 10 to 20 miles an hour sustained, gusts 30, 35 miles per hour. And you know, every day that we've seen this fire make big movements. First of all, the first day when the start occurred, we had some pretty extreme winds. Then we had the northwest winds. When was that? 2 or 3 days ago now. That pushed it to the southeast, and now we're seeing the similar kind of movement today to the northeast with those stronger winds. So this is clearly a wind-driven fire that continues to make runs with those high winds that we have, unfortunately, out there again today. So RHs are down well into the single digits today, probably close to 6%, it looks like, out there is what we're expecting. The concerning thing from my perspective in the weather is not only the winds today, but we do have a cold front coming in, so the winds are going to switch to the eventually to the northwest, maybe west-northwest if we're lucky. It won't get completely northwest. And you know, we are going to see on the eastern side of this fire pretty strong gusts tonight. So it looks like gusts to 40 miles per hour. Some models have been indicating up to 50 mile per hour gusts tonight. I don't think that's quite going to happen, but there is potential there for that kind of wind push tonight. So Unfortunately, it looks like that's going to persist from about 9 p.m., not too long after sunset, maybe 10 p.m., through about 3 o'clock in the morning. And, the one thing that we do have going in our favor here on the southeast side is we do have a bit of a fuel change. So what the fire is burning in right now is primarily this burn scar, which is fairly continuous fuel type. You can see down to the bottom of kind of the yellow outline here. And once we get out of that yellow outline, then we're dealing with a different fuel type that we think will be more favorable to limit fire spread, any potential fire spread in that direction. There's always uncertainties with that, but we think that's in our favor. The other additional thing is there's a little bit more rocky terrain down here versus the somewhat continuous fuels that we're dealing with up here where the fire's burning for the most part right now, central portion of the fire on the eastern side here. So we talked about tonight, unfortunately, we don't get very good RH recovery either, so we're going to stay dry through a good portion of the night. As we get into tomorrow, the good news is we're looking at westerly, if there can be any good news at this point, westerly winds, and they won't be nearly as strong as today. Unfortunately, on Tuesday, we are looking at southwest winds moving across the fire again with another cold front pushing in. So it's a fairly complicated situation in terms of the weather. It really has not been dealing us any favors here, not only with the current situation, but with the issues that we've, with the dry weather, the drought that we've seen for quite some time now in this area. So those fuel moistures, which they can be, really high numbers up to almost 300%. Well, they've been measured close to 5 to 10%. So really low moisture in the fuels. It's just it's so dry out there. It's a pretty difficult situation. And to be honest with you, in this fire scar, prior to this event, these wind-driven events we've had, they have not seen a whole lot of movement in this scar because it's about 10 years old now. And prior to this event, there was not big fire pushes or anything like that in this burn scar. So it's a little bit of an interesting dynamic happening, combination of the weather and the fuels currently. So that's all I've got. I'm not sure who's next, but
Pat's gonna go again.
okay.
All right, good afternoon again. So I did want to go over some of the kind of planned actions that we have and some of the information that I failed to mention a few minutes ago. So I did mention we have a division supervisor down here scouting out, working with Andrew and his folks. We also do have a spike camp identified for this location. We're going to have upwards of 100 people coming in down here to assist with the containment efforts down here. We did finally get some fills on our crews that we've had outstanding since we got here last Friday. So finally starting to let go of some crews nationwide, and we're the recipients of I think 5 today and 5 tomorrow. So we're going to split those up north and south, and hopefully be able to make some good progress for y'all down here. We did get approval to use COCHITI-LAKE for CL-215s, the super scoopers, airplanes. Those, we have 6 that were identified for the Hermit's Peak fire, and we just got 2 identified for us as well. So we're going to be able to, as soon as the wind dies down, we'll be able to start scooping out of the lake and getting some water on the fire from this direction. I'll kind of switch into kind of some of the relationships that we've had. I'm actually from New Mexico. I lived down in Cloudcroft for a long time, started my career with the Forest Service down there. But, many of the southern areas from the 13 states in the south, and we've had an excellent working relationship with all the tribes, the state of New Mexico, the Forest Service, BLM, everybody around has been extremely easy to work with and accommodating and helpful, because we're not from here, or the majority of us aren't from here, and we don't know what we don't know, So having a lot of folks that are helping us out has been extremely beneficial. You know, I work for the National Park Service, and the Park Service has been excellent to deal with here as well. So we have a saying within our team, you know, we're here for 14 days and try and do the best we can for you with the resources that we have, but then we get to go home. And y'all are left for the duration of this fire. So we want to make sure that we're doing as much as we can for the community, for our cooperators, and everything, with leaving y'all with the best taste in your mouth as possible with the Southern Air Red Team. And hopefully we're doing that. If not, make sure you're reaching out to our public information officers and our liaison officers, and we'll try and make sure that we're adjusting our messages and trying to get as much information out to y'all as soon as possible with the most accurate information possible. So I'll turn that over to our District Ranger.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brian Riley. I'm the District Ranger on the JEMEZ Ranger District, which encompasses all the way to the Cochiti area. First, I wanted to just say thank you for being here. We appreciate your support. I'd like to thank the governor and the lieutenant governor for being here as well. We know this is very concerning for everybody. Of course, it's hard to comprehend what's happening to us now at the end of April. Today's May 1st. Typically, we don't get this kind of fire weather until late June. So it's, is that still working? So it's really hard. It's really hard to deal with. And as a fire district with our own fire crew, we were challenged by this fire. We continue to be challenged by this fire. So we're lucky as the Forest Service and as all the different agencies working together that we have teams that can come in and help us. So the Southern Red Team has been great. He was just talking about all the communication that's been going on, and we're just happy that they're here. They'll be followed up by another Type 1 team later this week, and we'll have a team here as long as we need a team. Unfortunately, we're dealing with a fire that, because it did start in April, and as you know, we don't typically get any significant rains until early July. So we may be facing a couple of months of really challenging times, not only for this fire, but we've got to be on the alert for other starts as well. So not good things, but if we all stay in this together, we can stay safe as communities. And I know, and I think it's great, all of you are paying attention. I think it's great that you're here today. Just remember also that, and Scott was talking about it, that, this is mostly burning right now in the Las Conchas burn scar. And we've never had a situation like this in the past 11 years where we've had the fuels that are laying down in the burn scar. We do know that there are a lot of heavy fuels in there because those trees have been falling for years. But in the past, particularly May, June, when we have had lightning strikes or later, it usually just stays in one place. But a couple of things here. Of course, these winds are unprecedented. We haven't had winds like this. That anybody I've talked to that have lived in New Mexico their whole lives don't remember an April like this. So it makes it challenging. And it's not like a crown fire that's gotten up and is just running, miles and miles a day, but it is moving along in this heavy fuel. And it's going to be really hard to put out. It's going to take time. So just remember also that we got a lot of firefighters out there, and they're being as careful as possible. We want to make sure that every firefighter that has come to this fire goes home to their families. Okay, so this is really dangerous country to work in, and because of lack of roads, because of the fuels that are on the ground, all those down trees, it's really hard to move around in there. And as was mentioned before, hopefully we'll get a little relief from the wind, and we'll get more air attack. I know the air attack is getting up there as often as they can. But I do want to thank the team and all the firefighters that are out there, and I just want to make sure they stay safe. So let's be patient with all of them. So I'm going to pass the mic off, but if anybody has questions later, I'd be happy to try to answer any questions. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jorge Silva Bañuelos. I'm the superintendent at Valles Caldera National Preserve. My family actually grew up around here in Peña Blanca in the Sila area, so this is very much home to me as well. The National Park Service is definitely involved in this fire as well. We try to focus on a landscape scale approach. So we know these fires don't recognize any sort of boundaries, whether that's federal, state, private, tribal. So we all have to be in this together. Right now, we're monitoring the fire very closely. It's looking like it might come into Valles Caldera's boundary potentially today. And we're also looking at Bandelier National Monument, that the fire may start moving towards its upper watershed in Frijoles Canyon. So either way, as Brian mentioned, this is going to be a fire that we're dealing with for weeks, for a month, for longer. We'll see how that goes. But all of these areas are in play in terms of the risks that are involved with this fire. And as Brian mentioned, being in that Las Conchas fire scar makes it incredibly hard to manage, hard to fight, because of all that down fuel and the snags that make it very difficult and dangerous for firefighters to go in there. The other thing that's really important, and you all know this very well in this area, the Jemez Mountains in this area is a really important cultural landscape for multiple tribes. Cochiti Pueblo down here, Santa Ana, Zia, Jemez Pueblo, Santa Clara up north, Santo Domingo, the list goes on. And these are all Aboriginal homelands for many of these tribes. Lots of archaeological sites and cultural resources. And that's why we are also working to make sure that we're taking extra special care on how we're trying to manage this fire and protect these important resources. So we'll keep doing our best. Like Brian said, we have another Type 1 team coming in after this. We are very lucky to have a Type 1 team. Right now, a lot of the resources that are available across the nation are really strapped. And having the amount of resources that we're getting here, I think, is an indication of how important this landscape is. And we'll keep fighting for those resources to make sure we get this fire suppressed ultimately. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Lawrence Crane with the New Mexico Forestry Division. I'm here mainly to help the team out. My job duties are to make sure that stuff going on private and state land is meets the intent and jurisdiction of the state. I'm also here because I've been involved in fires out here since the Dome fire that started quite a few years ago. I was evacuated during Cerro Grande, and I spent almost 40 days on the Las Conchas fire. So they want me to help out with the local knowledge and stuff, so that's what I'm doing. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Those of you who don't know, my name is Andrew Chavez. I'm the Cochiti Fire Chief. I've been for a while. I've been involved in this department since 2016. And I've been involved. I've been involved in this fire department since 2016, part of the leadership team. But I've also been fighting fire in this area in Sandoval County since 2008. So first I want to thank everybody for being here and being involved and being informed. I also want to speak about my involvement, my department's involvement, and our partnerships. So I was one of the first ones that got looped into this fire through our cooperative efforts. I've been involved with this fire since the hour it started, and spent the night and the next few days up there. I've been engaged with the team, and also every one of our partners, every one of the gentlemen that have spoke up here, I have personally talked to today, along with Governor and Lieutenant Governor from Cochiti Pueblo. And we have all taken a one community approach. Okay, with that, public and firefighter safety is the #1 priority. Okay, there's been a lot of questions on why or why not. And the things that we do are for those two priorities, public and firefighter. Okay? So through our partnerships, we have been able to ensure access, make sure that roads are improved and gates are open and everything that is needed is done before it is requested. Currently, my leadership team, my wildland division, our leadership team, our wildland division is engaged in this area. We are going to remain engaged with the team because this is our area, this is our back door. I know that the best vantage point is Karani. Every one of us have driven up there and can see everything. So with that, I ask that we give our fire crews and our partners the space that they need. Okay? Everybody is concerned about evacuations, right? That's the ugly word that we talk about. Okay? I want to ensure the public that you will be informed when that becomes necessary. Okay? I myself, my team, are involved and will notify because we know this community. We know all the doors to knock on here, Cochiti-Pueblo, Sile, Peña Blanca, our entire community. Okay? The other thing I want to emphasize is those that have health issues. We are going to be impacted with smoke for the next week, month. Okay? Let's do what we can to make sure that we take care of ourselves and take care of our neighbors. Okay? This community does good with taking care of each other. I've witnessed that firsthand and I've lived up here. I've been part of that. So let's continue that. The other thing that I want to mention is official information is going to come from the team. All official information on media is going to come from the fire's Facebook page, NC Web. That is the accurate information. Okay. The town Facebook page, the Cochiti Fire Department Facebook page is going to add updates and clarify and give more specific info, but the fire information, the most accurate, is going to be on those platforms run by the incident management team. Also with that, let's take care of each other. I don't know how much more I can stress that is let's take care of each other. One community working towards a common goal, and for right now that's being prepared. We've been doing that for years. We all live in the wake of the Los Conchas fire. I spent several days there. A lot of people watched it for as long as it went on from their houses. So we're prepared. We know. With that, I'll turn it back over to the Public Information Officer for any questions. Also, my team is very engaged in normal 911 and this fire. So I apologize if we don't get back to your Facebook messages, phone calls. Try and reach out to the fire if you have direct questions, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, we're going to move now into our questions and answers period. Our speakers will be available. My partner here, John, will be passing the mic around. I just let you know that some of our speakers may be available afterward if you'd like to ask questions then. But thank you. We'll go ahead and get started with that.
I was just wondering what kind of scenario would you envision for the fire to be here?
Well, that's a very good question. So, like the IMET said, the meteorologist, if we had a really severe wind from the northwest, and it pushed off past that Las Conchas scar into the community. That would be, the scenario that we're looking at. And he said, tonight it's got 45-mile-an-hour winds. So that's why, in concert with Chief, we've got folks out there looking, but just be ready. I'm not saying it's going to get here tonight, but a couple of days of strong northwest winds could push it past that fire scar and into some more burnable vegetation.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have a quick question. How are we notified? Is it by phone or is it knocking on the door? I know Las Conchas was a little bit different.
That's a good question. So we have many redundancies in place. The first one is going to be a reverse 911. That's the code red system that we've been pushing for everybody to sign up. That's going to be a phone call from our regional communications center, and it's going to go to your phones with a pre-recorded message. We're also going to do door-to-door, ready, set, go, which will be posted on the social media platforms, and then law enforcement, firefighters, whoever we need to make those notifications. Coming behind you.
Is the National Guard going to be involved again this time?
Another good question. I know there have been discussions about the National Guard. We actually do have 2 National Guard Type 1 Blackhawks that are dropping water right now. So they are actually involved, but we're going to still in discussions on crews and support crews. We're really short on like communications, logistics, things like that. So those conversations are happening, but I couldn't tell you for sure yes or no.
Okay, and I just want to let you know, if you have a question, raise your hand high so John here can see it.
Hi. Can you point on that map where we are in conjunction with where the fire is? I mean, when I look on the website and look at the map, I think, where the hell are we?
Right. I hear you. Sometimes I think the same thing. So y'all are right down here. Here's the COCHITI-LAKE and the dip site that we're using. So right down in here.
And I'll let you know that that map is available on our NC website, so you can bring it up and take a really good look at it.
We're not on it. I'm on that side.
Okay. Okay. We'll make sure. Go ahead.
So in the Conchas fire, you guys set up a base camp here. Do you see that happening again?
We are actually, it's going to, base camp, we're calling it a forward operating base. It's not going to be quite as big as a base camp, but enough to hold about 150 folks down here. And we do have our main base camp up in outside of JEMEZ Springs. So we're just trying to get folks down here so it's a quicker response time for y'all down here. And to cut down on the firefighter traffic and exposure. So.
Yes, you just, I think, answered part of my question. Earlier, one of the speakers mentioned the phrase containment effort down here, and that there was no explanation. So I think when you just mentioned this team of 150, that partially answered that question.
Yes, ma'am. So, like I said, we do have that division supervisor that's been down here the last couple of days, and he's going to have those 150 folks that are going to be down here assisting. We do have a dozer out there right now working on possible containment lines, but just the dozer doesn't do it right. So we got to follow that up with firefighters, and we're going to have, like I said, about 5 crews and a few engines down here to assist as well. It's taken a while to get those folks in, but they'll be here starting today and tonight and tomorrow, and start working up on the hill.
Explain what hand crew is.
So a hand crew is, so we have several different types of hand crews. We have a type 1 crew, which is hot track crew. We do have 2 of those on site in Division Romeo, which is up in this part of the fire. And we have type 2 crews to be able to come in and behind those folks, not quite as, I won't say as skilled, but they don't have quite the leadership that a Type 1 interagency hot shot crew has. But we should have 5 Type 2 crews down here to fall in behind that dozer to start mopping up, doing anything that additional containment efforts that we might need.
In following up on a previous question regarding location, how far is that fire from us now? Are we looking like 10 miles or less?
So I was in the area pretty close to the fire's edge right before this meeting, and I was just able to take a measurement from my map. It's over 5 miles away.
You mentioned the containment crew coming in. Do they have a place to stay? Do they need accommodations?
Good question. They actually do have a place to stay. We've worked with COCHITI-LAKE, and they've offered up a place, and that's one of the reasons why we're got them coming in slowly tonight. We're building that out. It's just going to be right over here, and good location for access to the fire, and really appreciate the COCHITI-LAKE working with us and getting a great location for us.
And I'm going to add on to that. The Pueblo of Cochiti governors, far before it was asked, worked with us and other Pueblo departments to go in and prepare the rec center for that. So that's where it's going to be. Water is running, power is on, parking lot's cleared, the infrastructure is there. So that facility will be able to support all of their overnight needs and food and everything there.
On the ready, set, go scale, have we gotten to ready yet?
No, we have not gotten to that. We should all be ready. You know, to be quite honest, we are a big little town in the middle of nowhere. We should always be ready for these natural disasters. But as far as this fire concerns, we have not reached the ready status, but myself working with the incident management team, we do have management action points in place based on specific weather and fire behavior at that time. So we have not reached that yet.
Do you have any need for volunteers to help with communications?
Not at this time.
Ham radio?
Oh.
The state is saying ham radio? The ham radio operators have helped in the past.
Okay. So, ham radio operators, but we do have some folk. We actually got a gentleman in from California this morning, and like I said, for some reason, I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's people are a little slow to the party. It's April, but finding support crews and personnel has been difficult. So we're beating the bushes, and I'll get with Lawrence and see maybe if we can use some volunteers and to help out with any kind of radio communications.
Another one. On first blush, when I was listening to the forecast, I got the impression that the wind was blowing tonight in a southwesterly direction, which made me breathe a little better. But it was Tuesday night when the weather was going to switch around with the cold front coming in, where it would be pushing from the northwest, I think. Can we review this again, please?
Yeah, so I'll talk about the winds again here real quick. So today we're looking at the southwest winds across the incident. That cold front is coming in this evening into the overnight hours, and so we're going to see things switch around. It's going to be out of the west this evening, near when the sun sets, about that time, and then it's going to turn a little bit to the northwest overnight.
Northeast.
Okay?
Northeast.
No, northwest overnight. So that would be aligned in these drainages. Okay, down here.
Clarify for them, when you're saying northwest, you mean it's coming out of the...
Yeah.
Or going toward, yeah.
Yeah, it's coming out of the northwest. Just like right now they're coming out of the southwest. Okay? Is that clear to everybody? All right, so then tomorrow we're looking at west winds, not as strong as today. I guess I'll call it kind of a down day in terms of wind speeds. We might see, coming from the west, so moving east. And we might see winds gusting up to 20, 25 at the most. So about what we saw yesterday, if I recall correctly. So then on Tuesday, we're going to see winds out of the southwest again. Okay, and Tuesday we're real close to being in what we call critical fire weather conditions. And critical is basically means the same thing as red flag warnings. Okay, which I just recall, I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but there is a red flag warning that is in effect until 10 p.m. tonight. Hopefully that's not a surprise to anybody at this point, but it is what it is. So anyway, does that make sense? Now everybody understand the winds, what's happening? All right. Tuesday they're go out of the southwest going northeast again, just like today, essentially. Okay?
But didn't you say that tonight they might be strong from the northwest?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Tonight we're looking at winds blowing in this direction. Okay?
So worst case scenario, God forbid it happens that we get evacuated. Are locations being allocated to house evacuees at this point?
Yes, evacuation centers are being worked on right now. Those agreements are being put in place so that we are ahead of the game if that were to happen.
In case of evacuation.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
There was a follow-up, I think, on where
What was the follow-up?
Where are they location? Locations of evacuation. Where do we go? We need to go.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to tell them where we're looking at, I think that's fine.
So we are in the process of creating those agreements and identifying those places. Tentative, we are going to use the Cochiti School for that evacuation center. But in that code rest.
Bernalillo Public Schools as well.
Okay, all of Bernalillo Public Schools is willing to help. I reached out to a board member and the superintendent, and they are aware. So they are going to make those facilities available to us. In that code red message, and at the time of evacuation, that will be part of the message also.
If we are evacuated, will the dam road be opened for us to evacuate? My thought was Cochiti Pueblo is going to have to come out to 22. If we're coming down to 22 also, rather than create that congestion, would the dam road be opened so that we could get people out faster?
That is not the safest thing to happen. That is a very narrow 2-lane road that is not well maintained on the other side because it is deemed critical infrastructure. So it would not be the safest. We will have law enforcement and our tribal partners that will help with traffic control in that event.
A while ago, you mentioned the reverse 911, and you hope people had signed up for it. How do you sign up for that?
We have Teresa Greeno. She is the emergency manager for Sandoval County.
So you can sign up through our Sandoval County website. If you go onto the main page on Sandoval County, SandovalCountyNM.org, I think that's the site. But at the top of it is a link to fire updates. And on that page, we have a link that will take you to the Code Red site. And on that site, you can put your cell phone number, your home phone, and link all of that to your address here. And that's going to be the first way that we start doing those notifications for evacuations. Of course, we're also going to be pushing it out through every other means possible as well, through media. We're going to be working with the community members to make sure that they're going door to door with law enforcement, making sure that everybody knows that we're doing the evacuations. But that code red system, the reverse 911, it's a very quick way to get all of the information we're going to be putting into it, the shelter sites and where you need to go. So if you need to meet with me after, I can help you get onto that site and get you registered, okay?
This is a very selfish question, but as a power wheelchair user who lives alone with a cat, I can't get out of town on my own because I no longer drive nor even own a vehicle. So I am very dependent on other people to assist me. And I know that most everyone in town is pretty much concerned about themselves, as am I. So I'm wondering, is there any provision for anyone like me or anyone else who happens to need additional assistance?
I think in case of emergency, let's just talk with the fire chief about that really quick. Did you hear the question?
I did. So any of our non-ambulatory, we have a couple emergent options, which is our ambulances. We have 3 ambulances. We have multiple ambulances through our partnerships with the county and our other senior programs, along with Red Cross, to make sure that those facilities are ADA compliant, where we're evacuating to and evacuating the process. Does that answer the question as much as we can?
Excuse me, but as a wheelchair user for the past 12 years, one of the things I've discovered is that most people are unaware of the difficulties we face. So my question is still, how do I get in contact with them? How do I know if they know where I am? How do I know if somebody's going to come to my house? What should I be doing? I've looked on the disability websites that suggest what we should do in case of some emergency like this, and most suggest we make plans with our neighbors. But my neighbors may not be able to do the kind of assistance that I need, and I may indeed need the use of accessible transportation. So what's going to happen?
Well, for your case specifically, we will make arrangements, myself and you. I will talk to you after this meeting. But in general, 911 can be a quick, I need help, I can't get out, I'm unable to. And we will work with our senior center and the American Red Cross to provide that transportation. We have those vans, the county has those vans available, and we will have the ability to call them. If we can, those individuals in need of this service, see me after. I will come find you after this meeting, and we will get those answers, those questions answered specifically for your needs.
Thank you.
This gentleman's arms have to be getting tired because they've
They are,
been up for a
man,
while.
they are. So a lifelong resident of Peña Blanca, I know and I love all my people, my natives and everybody, but as a wood hauler, I've hauled wood out of these forests for years. And I know it might just be a small drop in the bucket on my part, but there was many wood haulers from the other pueblos, and then Cochiti shut down. Like, we are the eyes of the forest as well. And when we used to camp up there, we had more Forest Service and Game and Fish going up there. And now that Cochiti blocked off the road, no disrespect to them, there's nothing like that. There's nothing. I understand it could be power lines or whatever else, but it should be opened up because we are a conscious people. It's like people living near the ocean. We know what it's like, the dangers. And I know some Pueblo gentlemen here are going to give me some good answers. I hope so. But
You bet.
but you have to cooperate with the Forest Service and not be such sticklers and restrictive because we used to camp out here and we were the guardians of the forest ourselves. And now these are closed and it's ridiculous because there's no Forest Service or anybody coming out here anymore game and fish except a few Pueblo officials. That's all.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Philip Quintana. I'm governor from Cochiti Pueblo. Standing beside me is Lieutenant Governor David Gordon. So I'll get to that answer. I'll answer your question, your concerns with that one there, sir. But I want to start off by saying, we did definitely take a proactive role right away when the fire started. So right now, I can tell you that just past the golf course, they're bulldozing a road, a containment line, right? Where, like you said, the fire is 5 miles from us, so we're going to make sure that it doesn't get any closer than that. That's what we're trying to do. So again, we've opened up those roads. Again, that is our land, that's true. And so we have issues that we're trying to fully gain control. We don't have a total, trust. It's trust land to us, so we don't have control over it yet. So that's another thing. That's why it's still blocked. That's why there's no maintenance being done on it. So again, even that road, we drove on that road, 289 you're talking about, to Dome. Just this morning, I got still wet shoes right here. I'm trying to, just looking at that area. And again, same thing. How much do we open up? We don't know how far, which way the fire's going to go, but we're guessing it for sure. We know tonight it's going to come towards us, right? So we know it's making its way towards the COCHITI-LAKE, the village here. So again, we have knowing through the weather system that they have doing their best again to make sure those they're having a containment line built up. So we're doing what we can. We have right behind your village here. There's access roads there that we're trying to clear out. So we're making sure that there's to Tent Rocks, that's open all the way up to the memorial for the firefighters. And again, it's going to be minimal access. Cochiti Canyon, there's no way to pass through there. There's just, the road is no longer there. Where it comes out of the canyon, that used to be where the apple orchard was, that's it. That's as far as you can go driving, even barely walking. If you got past that into the canyon, all you'll see is these ponderosa pines just lining the bottom of the riverbed, that area. So there's no way anybody can go past or get access into Cochiti Canyon. Same way with Bland. Bland is all blocked through there. It's the same thing. All the debris, the trees, like this size. We're talking this size, just looking like toothpicks, just all across the riverbed. So again, see, that's as far as we can go, or even the firefighters can go. Again, so we're trying to do that. So again, that is our land. We're trying to get it into trust for us. We have to buy our own land back. We spent $8 million getting our own land back, and that's shameful, I think. But that's how long we've been after it. And again, you may have a burn scar right now, but still, you don't see it. Well, Cochiti Pueblo, that is precious to us. That is from Tortilla Peak, I can tell you, back to my right, all the way across back to Bearhead. I've hunted and walked all this land, so I know what I'm talking about. I knew where all these firefighters are trying to get into. The team, which is my team from Cochiti, they're the ones who, again, same thing, Pueblo members. They've hunted and walked these lands. They knew which road to fix first, instead of blindly going in there. How do we get in there? No, we knew how to get in there. We knew where to set up the areas. So we are trying our best to make sure you guys are safe. You guys are going to be the first one impacted from the fire coming over tonight. We don't want that. We don't want nobody hurt. I'm going to even address the lady's concern about her trying to get out here. Yeah, same thing. I'm going to get with you and make sure that you have even our numbers. Again, because I have my own tribe, my own people that I'm taking care of too. Like that same thing. You know, you suffer from asthma, you suffer any kind of ailments like that. We feel for you. I do. You know, and like I said, I'm here standing before you, the governor. When I took that position, I took it with. I was just grateful to get that position because I know who I am, and then it's instilled in me to help all the people, right? I'm not just helping my tribe. Once I know that they're taken care of, and then I put my focus back on you. And again, so if you want to know, like I said, the recreation center, which is just north of the mini mart there, I didn't wait for anybody. I just commandeered it. I'm taking it over. That's where our firefighters are going to go. It was even me and my lieutenant here. We're over there scrubbing it up, cleaning it up, got all the brush cleared out of the way. So I want to be the one to welcome the firefighters here, and make sure that they have everything they need that to fight this fire. So again, we apologize that the road is closed. I almost feel as popular as this guy right here.
He has a follow-up question, Governor.
Sure.
One more question, Mr. Quintana.
No problem.
I think we went to school together, man. And I love my people from Cochiti. Happy feast day to those in San Felipe.
That's right.
And but you didn't really answer my question. In the future, you guys can. You're
okay,
more than likely to fence your land and everything, but Forest Service needs to go up and determine what is needed in this area here in order to prevent this from happening again. Like these guys know what they're doing. These guys have the four-wheel drives, the trucks, all that stuff, and they go up there, and now that there's no access, nobody can go up there. I don't mind going to Pecos and Vegas myself. I do already the past 3-4 years since it's been closed. It's an extra travel for me. That's okay. But okay, go ahead, Governor. Thank you.
So, to answer your question, we've been working with the governor's office for as long as I've been part of this department. And this specific sensitive topic, I want to reiterate that for emergency access, my fire department, your fire department, and the Forest Service have always had access in an emergency. Even through COVID access issues, there has been clear access for emergency services. There is access to this area from the other side, where the resources are. Okay, the JEMEZ district, the National Park Service, even into Los Alamos, to the Forest Service base, they all have somewhat closer access than the resources that would come this way from Albuquerque. I myself have had access since I became part of the leadership team. We work very closely with Department of Natural Resources and the governor's office to ensure that the emergency services are not just provided to one community, but to all communities and the land. We work very hard to protect the cultural and natural resources through all of the partnerships. And one gate is closed doesn't mean the partnerships are gone. Okay?
I'd like to add to that. Hello everyone, I'm Lieutenant Governor Gordon from Cochiti-Pueblo. I know that the road was closed due to the Los Conchas fire, but with all of the agencies working together and the Pueblo, we've been able to reopen that road and get access through there. And we're working closely with the Forest Department because right after our land is Santa Fe National Forest, and that road is in need of tremendous repair, tremendous work in that area as well. So in the future, I'm sure that once we get the land into trust, that the Pueblo will allow access through our land into Santa Fe National Forest. But right now, you have to be patient. We've been trying to get our land in trust now for, it's been about 8 years now, and we're planning a trip to Washington to talk with Deborah Holland. She is going to help us, and we're going to try to expedite. And they're changing regulations right now with tribes trying to get land into trust, and so we're being proactive there, and we're trying our best because Cochiti, all this time we've been having to pay state taxes on the land that we just bought. Like my brother mentioned, we had to pay $8 million to get our own land back, and we really can't even go in there ourselves. None of our Pueblo or none of our tribal members can go in there and hunt or get wood or do any of that kind of stuff, because if we do, we jeopardize our chances of getting it put into trust, in federal trust land. So okay, so we want to make sure that today we take advantage of this opportunity to extend to everyone here that we wish to work with our communities, our outside agencies, and everyone, so that we all can come together, have that collaboration, have that communication, and ensure that we can work together as one into the future.
Thank you, Governor, Lieutenant Governor. We have 3 people chosen to ask the last questions, and then we have to let our incident managers get back to work. So here's the first one. Hold on. I know better than that.
Okay. All right. My question is, what about our pets if we are evacuated? Are there special accommodations for them? Can they come with us to wherever we're going?
We've learned in the past that anytime anybody's evacuated, that we do try really hard to get accommodations for pets. Pets are not usually allowed at Red Cross evacuation centers, but there'll be something set up, most likely, if everything goes right next door or in the immediate area for the pets.
Thanks, Lawrence.
Yes, for those of us who live in Santo Domingo, Sile, and have to deal with agriculture and livestock, what are the likelihood of us having to start evacuating our animals? And if it's a high enough chance, are we going to get any sort of provisions or assistance with that?
Chief, can you address that?
The livestock evacuation?
Yes. Advanced announcements
For
livestock evacuation.
Yes. So as far as evacuations as a whole, whether it's for people or livestock, they'll come around the same time, and we ask that you make those preparations then. I want to explain a little bit more about evacuations. It's maybe a surprise, but we're going to have some time. Okay, we're not going to wait until it's, a couple of feet from our houses before we tell you to leave. So that's what the Ready, Set, Go program is for, so that draws out the process and makes sure that we get that information out. As far as the livestock evacuation, with this fire, when we evacuated the other residents on the other end of the fire, we were using Expo, New Mexico. They were accepting all livestock. I will confirm with that to make sure that that is still an option. To explain more, there are several fires, large fires around the state. The entire city of Las Vegas is in threat of being overrun by a fire, and the associated communities. So our evacuation for livestock may be taxed there. Luckily, Santa Fe is in between, so we will get that information out shortly.
Thanks, Chief. All right, we have just one last statement here, and we'll go ahead and take care of that. And
Okay, I'm Margaret McIntyre with the Community Fund, and I just want to let you all know, several of you have already generously donated. We're trying to, okay, sorry, is that better? Yeah, okay. Anyway, we're trying to raise some money to support the firefighters who are going to be stationed here. And the Community Fund will match any donation you give to us for that purpose. And I'm here, I'm happy to take cash checks, whatever. And also you can bring it to my house or Laura John. Later, sorry. Okay.
Repeat the last sentence.
Okay, I'm here right now, but if you don't have your checkbook with you, you can bring it to my house out in the burbs, or to Laura Johnson's house up on Buscane, or to Maggie Godson's house on Buscane, anytime. Yeah. Okay. Thank you all so much, and thanks for everyone who's given.
I can talk real loud. Thank you all, and just to follow up on what Margaret said, I put the boot out here. If you notice, I got my fire boot out here, and any donations, if you want to bring your donations to Town Hall, you can also do that. I will get anything made out to the community fund to them. Also, if you want to contact me about specific food things that I have the list from the first firefighters. Our own Molly Gurley is organizing this. And if you just check with me, I'm there from 9 to 3. Y'all know where to find me. I'm Dolly. So,
Dolly, so just put it in the, the town Dropbox and write a check out?
You can put it in the town drop box here on the front of the door, or there's the turquoise one in the mail room if you're in the mail room, or find me and I'll make sure that it gets in the right
Check
part.
to the community.
COCHITI-LAKE Community Fund.
COCHITI-LAKE Community Fund, okay.
all right.
If you just contact me, I'll yeah.
Super.
We're trying to stick close to their list because they have food meals planned out. So if we can do that, then we make the best use of all of our dollars. I'm going to be going to town probably tomorrow afternoon on a shopping expedition to get the food and supplies because, guys, we are the luckiest people in the world with our team. I mean,
Thank you. Yeah.
we always get the he is the man.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, folks, ladies, if you could stay available for questions, for anybody that has questions about the donations, they'll be over here. And please come on over and meet them. You know what I see here? I see just a really caring and involved community. And it's really heartwarming to see that. And I want to thank you all for coming out. I want to thank Governor Quintana and Lieutenant Governor Gordon. Thank you for coming out. Thanks to our speakers for taking the time out of their busy days to keep you informed. Especially Chief Chavez, he's really been tied in with us, doing well. And thank you to all of you and your support for the firefighters up there. They are doing the best job they can under the circumstances, the conditions, and they will continue to do so. So thank you. Please keep an eye on the INSI website. We will have information of further community meetings times, places, and we will continue the information flow. Thank you, folks. Have a great day.